Last time on Square Roots, Kaim takes a meteor to the face, plays it cool for Seth, and engages in some non-consensual breath play with Jansen. Later, Kaim gets up close and personal with his boss's leaky grandstaff, only to discover, ooh, it has worms. Hi everybody, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. I almost wanted to say game show, but that's not what it is. It's a podcast. This is the podcast where we play your favorite RPGs. What do we play them, Johnny, for 10 points?
One chunker at a time.
That's 10 points to Johnny.
This is a game show.
Introducing our other contestants, all the way from the sandy beaches of Florida, it's Ooh Matt.
Hey, what's up?
So casual.
I apologize. I was texting my daughter. Let me try that again. Vanessa, can you set me up again?
All the way from the sandy beaches of Florida, it's Ooh Matt.
Ooh woo!
And all the
Was that
way.
Good? Should we try another take?
That was good.
No, that was perfect. All the way from Matt's guest room, it's Jim Banks.
Hey, it's me, Jim, live from Florida.
And I'm your host, Vanessa.
Okay,
that's enough. We don't want a copyright strike. This is episode 2 of Lost Odyssey. That's right. We're uncovering what's been lost, and it's a pretty good time. Spoiler alert. But before we get into Lost Odyssey, we like to talk about how we leveled up. I'm going to start with Jim.
Whoa.
Jim, tell the folks at home what you're doing.
I'm right now recording from Matt's house. Matt and I in the same location. I'm actually on a little mini vacation, and I came to Florida to visit my good friend Matt, and we're going to hang out and do Florida stuff for the next 4 days.
Just so that we're all clear, you know what? The listeners don't need to know what Florida stuff really means.
I was just going to ask, how do you define Florida stuff?
Use your imagination, everyone.
I think you are going on a boat. Is that one of your plans?
Yes. Actually, they make you sign an agreement when you come to Florida that you'll be on a boat at least once while you're here. Mm-hmm. So I have to be on a boat for at least a little bit.
You know, now that I think of it, I've never been to Florida and not been on a boat.
Did you know that in Florida, when you order water somewhere, they just squeeze a fresh orange into your mouth?
I did not.
That's a real thing.
Wow.
And, well, congratulations, Jim, on your vacation.
Thank you.
How was it flying with your mask?
It was fine. The mask wasn't bad. I'm a pretty tall person, so being on airplanes is always very uncomfortable. So my legs needed to stretch out, but otherwise, pretty good flight.
You need to get one of them bulkhead seats.
I know, but you gotta pay so much for those.
I know. It used to be like you could just get them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they wouldn't even sit anyone there in pre-check-in, so they could put the tall people there intentionally.
It's probably at least $100 to sit in one of those.
That's crazy.
At least.
You might as well be flying business class at that point.
I know. Sit up with the guys with the slick back hair.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are you squarely against?
No. It's time for Jim to pass on the level up to someone else.
I thought you were going to do it.
Jim's in Florida. That's a co-level up, and Jim and I have a second co-level up to talk about called Sweet Tooth, I think.
Do we?
Talk about it last week?
No, we didn't. We haven't talked about it yet. I also binge watched the new Netflix series Sweet Tooth.
What?
And
it's about an ice cream truck driving clown.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a Twisted Metal adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's based on a comic book, I think. I don't know who wrote it or anything, but I do know that the Netflix series is great, and it's nice to have a post-apocalyptic show that doesn't make you
hopeful.
Feel like absolute hot garbo when you watch it. Like,
it's like if The Walking Dead was good.
Yes, it's a nice little shot of optimism and hope right into your arm. It's a good show to watch. I thought it was great. Since we're co-leveling up on all the things, how did you level up?
I also watched Sweet Tooth, and that show is great. Legitimately, hop in and watch that. All the actors are fantastic, and it's mostly unknowns, or at least unknown for me. And they kind of all blew me away. And it's hopeful, and it's sweet, and it is a little scary, and Anyway, and also my friend Jim came to Florida and is in my daughter's room right now. So, what's over Jim's right
she's
shoulder?
She's not in here, by the way. It's just me.
There's a couple of space Mises over his shoulder, so I know where he is, and that's exciting.
Would you please talk about our friend Paul's ear?
Oh, so we... Man, it's such a story, it was epic. We were out raging like a couple of boners in the 70s out around
couple of wild and crazy guys.
A couple of wild and crazy guys just tying on all of that. And I threw what did Paul say to me, Jim, that made me throw something at him? He said something mean.
He did.
And I don't remember what it was.
He said a couple mean things tonight, and I think I can only remember one of them, and it wasn't that one.
What's the other one he said then?
I said that I was probably 6'3" with my hair up, and Paul looked at you and was like, "How tall are you with your hair up?"
That's not mean. That's fun. Anyway, our good friend, our partner in crime, Paul, was having a drink with us. We were having wine slushies, and they were delicious.
Oh man, I had a bunch of them.
And I threw a straw wrapper at him, and it landed perfectly in his ear. Like perfectly in his ear canal. Like he had a hard time getting it out. It was
even the bartender.
amazing.
We're all like, "Take a picture." The bartender was like, "Yeah, that'll never happen again."
Yeah. That bartender was kind of a jerk off. I did not like that guy.
He was kind of a strange dude.
He hovered over us and looked disapprovingly
and
upon us.
He had a mohawk.
As we
that
talked
looked like
about getting vaxxed
really
and shit, by the way, which really worried me. Anyway, that's how I leveled up. Vanessa, do you have any other questions? Comments?
No,
suggestions?
But I imagine I will, as your very long weekend together proceeds. I do hope to see lots of bro pics of bros having a good broing time in Florida.
Did you
We'll make a Broto album.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Why isn't it an exceptionally long weekend?
We'll set it to a Sarah McLachlan song. Matt and I running down the beach together.
I guess not that one.
I asked Jim if he was interested in a dolphin tour, and he shut the idea down so hard that I was embarrassed that I asked.
Oh no, Jim!
I was like, I don't know. Sitting on a boat for 3 hours while we go look at dolphins doesn't sound like the most.
That's not what you said. You were like, if I wanted to look at dolphins, I've seen a dolphin. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need to see a dolphin.
Don't those plans.
I know what a dolphin looks like.
That's right. I know what a dolphin looks like. That's good.
So you're not going to do a dolphin swim either?
No, I said I don't really need to do a dolphin encounter. Oh, look at this cat up here on the recording desk. Hello.
She's passing back and forth between the two rooms that we're recording in. She comes in here and rubs my legs and looks for attention, and then she goes in there. Jim really likes it when he licks her, when she licks him, by the way.
I was not enthused by that earlier.
Yeah, you've been disgusted by her licking habits for a while now.
She is a licking ass cat. I told him, you can't, what are you going to do? She'll just walk up to you and lick your leg. She's like a dog.
She's a really sweet cat, though.
And she's very stealthy. But she's very not graceful. All right, let's stop
John's
fucking
got to
around.
level up. John's turn.
So does Vanessa.
Yeah, me too.
True.
Did I go first?
Yeah.
No, Matt went first.
I thought
Oh, wait, yes,
no,
you
I
went
went
first.
Then
Jim
Matt.
went first.
Now Matt has to pass it off.
I just did.
Even when I'm hosting,
Oh.
I can't keep it straight.
Vanessa, how did you level
Yeah.
up?
I watched a show on Amazon Prime called
The boys.
Panic.
Is that the teen one?
It is. It's about
Teen?
teens doing teen things and having a teen time in Texas.
Ooh.
It's sort of like, I guess it's like a YA version of The Purge or Saw or something like that. It's about these, but YA. It's about these
Yeah, it's YA,
teens.
it's fine. PG-13.
This town has this tradition where the senior graduating class can participate in a game called Panic, which is basically a series of dares. And then whoever wins the game wins this like pot that the seniors have collected all year.
What kind of pot? Like an indica strain or like a sativa strain or?
It's a pot, a cast iron pot full of $50,000.
Oh.
And they live in like this crappy town and they want to get out. So that tends to be why people play, but it's entirely run by the teens as well. Or is it?
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. As the season progresses, you sort of learn that there are other machinations in play and people
Wow,
have
spoilers,
different
Vanessa.
motivations for playing the game. So it's sort of interesting. It wasn't like, don't watch it thinking it's going to be good, but if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, why not give it a watch? It has love triangles, it has teen girl drama, it has this lead actress who is very much like Miley Cyrus. Like, I kept thinking that she was, but she is not. She does have a name. Let me find it for you. I'm finding it in my memory because I paid attention and like to know actors' names. Mm-hmm. I think that if you're talking about someone, you should know their name and be able to discuss them.
Does it rhyme with Miley Cyrus?
Briley
Papyrus.
No, it's it's
Smiley
Cyrus.
Olivia Welch.
Oh, I feel like I've heard that name before.
But she's doing this Texas accent, and let's see, what else was she in? Something
Her
called
family's
Shithouse.
very famous for their jams.
Oh, she was Olive on Modern Family.
Wow.
But she's doing this Texas accent, and she has sort of a low voice, and it was just like very Miley to me.
She was in a movie last year called Shithouse.
Exciting.
Maybe that's
good.
where we know her from.
Of course, our favorite film, Shithouse. Okay, so that's what I did. I did watch that. Also, I started the cartoon Invincible, which Matt has already talked about on this show.
Wow.
And
Burying the lead.
watched the first episode of Loki. And spoiler alert, I liked it very much.
Wow.
Johnny,
That's me.
how did you level up?
I was thinking about that because I haven't really done much since the last record. I've sort of worked on podcast stuff or worked at work. But I can say one thing that's short but kind of fun. I was watching
Like you.
I'm only kind of fun.
Oh.
I was watching Red Letter Media's review of Return of the Living Dead. Now,
I've seen
Red
that.
Letter Media is that they're maybe problematic. I would say, like, once you've watched a couple of the things, you'll know that they sometimes like edgelord jokes. But I think that, especially when they like a movie, they have a lot of fun stuff to say.
I will say that they seem to, because like I feel the same way, John. They're super insightful about film, especially film that they like. but they have some shitty opinions about things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just skipped all their Star Wars reviews.
Oh, all the Star Wars stuff is trash. Don't watch that. Yeah.
Their opinions on, so they're talking about Return of the Living Dead from 1985. That is a film I saw, and I pretty much blocked it out of my memory, from seeing it, because I saw it when I was 8 or 9, and that is one of the goriest, nudity-filled, like, this is not a movie I should have watched when I was a little kid, right? And it's kind of insane. Well, I mean, I think my brother Nick rented it. And, it's kind of insane that I did watch that at such a young age, because I had literal nightmares about, like, one scene in that movie for weeks.
Was it when you had to look at female breasts?
No.
I think doesn't a character like get
Wow.
pulled or sawed in half in one scene in that movie? And there's some very gory stuff in that film.
Yeah, it was when, so they accidentally release this, these two, like, hapless guys who work at this medical supply thing accidentally release gas that, causes the dead to come back to life in the city. And they go upstairs after the gas is, oh no, this is after they've just opened up a crate that had some of the gas in it. And they go upstairs after that and they hear a dog barking. And they're like, what's this dog? And they see a dog on the ground barking and whining and like, oh, what's wrong with the dog? And then he picks it up and it's half a bisected dog, like a taxidermy bisected dog. And you see its organs moving.
Oh, I do remember that, the dog part.
And that gave me nightmares for weeks. And it's just weird seeing this movie. And now, like, the effects are kind of charming and it's funny to go back and look at, but, like, I remember every single, like, gore gag from that movie, and I've only seen it once 30-something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's insane.
Those old Romero movies, like, Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead and Return of the, like, those are formative horror movies. Like, they still leave an impression even now.
Well, I think this isn't Romero. It's the other guy who, I think it's like partly owned by the other guy who worked on Night of the Living Dead. And so he had the rights to the Living Dead names.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead couldn't use the words Living Dead in their titles.
Interesting. I had no idea that was the case.
If you've never seen the original Dawn or Day of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead, I would go back and watch them all. They're all very different and filmed in different decades, but I think they're all really worth watching. Return of the Living Dead is a horror comedy, and it is extremely gory, like extremely gory and very trashy. But it's interesting, and it's just weird going back and looking at something that I basically have childhood trauma about.
Yeah.
Like me and Jumanji.
Yes.
Jumanji?
Just like that.
And Jumanji.
Do you not like CG monkeys?
I saw those monkeys riding a motorcycle and they had firearms. It's not right.
Who was the actor that played the cop? His gimmick was like screaming in movies? Something.
I don't remember.
Like me in those fucking Tales books. All right. Like that shit was the worst.
So so I know this wasn't the most exciting level up, but next week it's going to be all E3 previews, reviews, and deviews.
Oh,
Can't wait to not give a shit about anything that happens at E3.
Is anything going to happen at E3? And if it does anyone believe it? Like, I don't
Maybe some Final Fantasy
anymore.
16 footage?
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely.
But they say,
details
like,
on this
these
new
days,
Battlefield?
they're like, oh, this game's going to come out, and then they're just kidding. And if it does come out, it's like Cyberpunk, and you don't want it.
But there's going to be a Tiny Tina game coming out, apparently. Apparently there's going to be a Tiny Tina game, and I'm very excited about that.
A whole bunch of games are coming out. They can say it as much as they want to. I don't believe it anymore.
What's Tiny Tina?
She's Ashley Birch's character from Borderlands.
Oh.
She's going to be in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Is she?
That's great.
I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
John,
A movie
I put this in the chat the other day, but I think you were sleeping, but I asked the group if you were excited for the new Borderlands movie because one of the top billed stars is Gina Gershon.
Ooh. No, because, well, I think I replied to that with my ranking of directors I hope would direct a Borderlands movie. And I think, so number 100 is of course Uwe Boll. Number 99 is Michael Bay. There's, number 98 is Paul W.S. Anderson. 97, Eli Roth, who's going to actually be directing it. Cut to number 5, Paul Thomas Anderson, because I think that would be great. Number 4, Tom Rubnitz, the bizarre queer director from the 1990s. Number 3, Penelope Spheris. Number 2, Edgar Wright. I think he would do an excellent Borderlands movie.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, of course, visionary Indian director Tarsem, who makes films into a visual canvas with lots of flowing fabric. You might remember him as the director of The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez, which is a gorgeous movie. Like one of the best.
It's beautiful, and that's all I have to say about it.
It is apparently The Fall is really good. I haven't seen it.
Nor have I.
Something he made a couple of years ago. Anyway,
time to open the Dream Journal.
Yeah, I think it's time for the Dream Journal. Now, last time we kind of rushed over the ending, and there's one thing I want to mention that is important for this chunker. Kaim, he falls asleep a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was sleeping this time, he did dream again of that girl falling off the cliff. But this time he saw a mysterious man with a staff off to the side. Mm-hmm. And he woke up calling the little girl's name, which was Liram.
Liram!
He was very upset about Liram. And Jansen's like, who's Liram? And Kaim's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Leave me alone. I hate you.
Well, I know you didn't like that character aspect of him, but he basically drops being a jerk in this chunker.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So, as you make your way out of the jail after you tricked the amnesiac guard with a magic memory forgetting pellet.
Yeah, bean.
A magic bean.
That's the best part of the
beans.
game.
Nothing but beans.
Which is kind of suspicious if you think about it.
What's suspicious about it?
That Gongora has a memory loss item that he wanted you to use, or that he wanted Jansen to use on 2 people with amnesia.
Yeah.
That is a little suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jansen didn't do it because he's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it with Jansen. He sucks. He's going to betray the party.
As you make your way out of the jail, you find these patrolling eyeballs. They're not actual eyeballs. It's not Manhunter New York, a reference everyone will get. They are robotic eyebrows.
I've been to New York on a manhunt more than once.
And I've been to Manhunter San Francisco. You
Jim,
have to...
Where have you been on your manhunt?
Manhunt?
There's only 2 Manhunter games. There's New York and San Francisco. London was canceled.
Jim's been to both New York and San Francisco.
I think he's been to London, too.
I haven't been to London.
Have you been to London?
Matt's not at his desk.
Is not at his desk.
Jim, shout into the kitchen, Matt, have you been to London? And tell us what he says.
Have you ever been to London?
Have you ever been to... What? Have you ever been to London?
Jim's going to break that chair.
Why are you asking me if I've ever been to London?
He said no, he's never been to London.
I may have been to
Okay.
London. I've been to England.
Matt's holding a kitten?
He said he's been to England, but never London.
Okay.
Why would you go to
What's
England
going on
and
in
not
here?
London?
We're talking about London, England.
Because he's a
That's
hipster. He doesn't want to go to, like, the popular place. He's
problem.
like,
Where'd he
no.
go? Like Liverpool?
Look at this cat.
Where'd you go?
I
in
went to
England?
I
Manchester
just went
and
to like a
Leeds.
small town.
Bristol.
And, hung out.
Matt said he went to a small town and hung out.
Matt's
well,
being
that sounds
very
fun.
mysterious.
Bye.
Matt said bye.
He went to Long Buckby.
What's Long Buckby?
Oh, it's a town that I went to in England. So you gotta dodge these eyeballs. It's like a little mini stealth game that doesn't quite work very well. It's a little bit iffy. They don't have a very long range of sight. And then you also have to do stuff like lock one in using a garage door. And then there starts to be these pressure sensitive plates where you can't run across them. It's real
the first one of that got me because I was just trotting along, having a great time, and it's like, whap, whap, whap.
A couple of them got me because they're very, very sensitive. Like if you let go of the walk button to like half a second too soon, even though Kaim seems to be stepping off of it, the game's like, nope.
And every time you get sent back, the amnesiac guard just lets you out again.
Mm-hmm.
How many
He's
times?
like, oh,
how many times
how did you get back in here?
How many times did you guys get caught?
4.
Like 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, caught like at least 9 times. There was one section that like you have to you go through a catwalk and then go down a ladder and then you're supposed to go to the right to the other ladder. Mm-hmm. And I kept going down because there's 2 robots down. So
yeah, and I remember spending like an hour. Like this was back in 2008, seeing if there's treasure down there. Yeah. I feel like there was too, but I don't know. I couldn't get it this time.
Could not. I got caught every single time I tried, and I tried like 8 times.
I feel like there is a stupid treasure there, but like you get plenty of slot seeds and stuff. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I yelled at my Xbox last night doing this. Like I literally yelled at it.
And also, when you said
caught a few times trying to go to that room too, and then I just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Kaim and the gang eventually get through here after like dropping a ladder and stuff. And there is a slot seed that's easy to get. It's just behind a door, in the last part of stealth area. And you get to a lovely garden deck that looks like the, what was that place called in Mass Effect when you're on the Citadel and there's that lovely garden deck? You know, it's like
Presidium? Your favorite shop.
Presidium.
Yeah, it's like you're in the Presidium in Mass Effect. And there's a chest that one guard does not want to carry to the some other part of the ship, and he drops it there. And you're like, ooh, all our weapons are in this chest. I don't know how they know this. The chest is closed, and I couldn't see any weapons. But they go and grab their weapons, and now you can fight, and which is good because then the guard catches you next to the chest and you have to fight the guards.
Mm-hmm. They probably heard them going clink, clank, clink, clank.
No, we didn't hear that, but we don't have the sensitive hearing of an immortal.
They don't seem to be any stronger or faster or keener than a normal human. Mm-hmm. They're just old.
Do they not? Kaim seems
I think
really
Kaim
strong.
is supposed to be like a super soldier.
I didn't take that as a side effect of his immortality, though.
Well, I guess just because he's learned to fight over millennia.
Yeah, he's good at fighting because he's old.
Well, wait, sorry. Gungora says he's only been immortal for a little while. I don't know what we're talking
about. That's what Gungora says.
I don't believe anything Gungora says. I told you last time
how I feel about Gungora.
I think they should have made it Gungora more sympathetic from the start, so it was more of a surprise that he was actually bad.
What?
Whoa. I don't believe that.
Spoilers.
Not for a second.
So you fight these guards and kill them, and then there's random encounters with eyeballs that summon robo-dogs that are super cute. I really like those robo-dogs. You get to the end of the hall, and Vanessa, why don't you describe this whole scene of the music, Jansen,
it's great.
Hearing.
Mm-hmm. So you hear this beautiful harp music, bling blong blong, bling blong 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 blong, and Jansen, like, it gets him hot and bothered, and he's like, "Listen to that harp. It must be the queen." And Seth is like, "How do you know?" And he says, "No man plays the harp."
He says, "Dude."
Yeah. Dudes don't play the harp. Yeah. What, do you think it's Harpo? Idiot. It's the queen. And so he decides that he can't pass up the opportunity to meet the queen because, in his words, she must be hot.
He also says that if he doesn't
He's right.
look into it, then his man card will get taken away.
Yeah.
Oh my
his man
God, that's
card
right.
will
The
get
idea
taken away.
of a man card
Woof.
is a very toxically masculine concept. And I don't like it.
Yeah. Basically, he's like, if I don't go for this chick, who's definitely a chick because she's playing the harp, and that's not something that alphas do, then my man card, the man police are gonna come, and everyone will call me a beta male. So I'm going for it. So he runs through these double doors and closes them behind him.
Wait,
to,
Vanessa, I just have to interject for 1 second. I apologize for interrupting,
Yeah.
but I think you'll find this is a salient point. The only man cards that I like are the cards that you find in the game Shadow Hearts 2, which are pornographic cards of muscle men in various poses with their genitals barely obscured that you use to trade into a gay tailor so you can get new dresses for your living puppet girl.
Wow. When are we playing that? Soon?
Played that game. And when I first played it, I was quite surprised by the man cards because I was used to, at that point, running into strangely sexualized female characters in RPGs. But never had I ever seen something like that. And I was glad I did. So, Jansen, he slams the doors behind him. Now you're playing as Jansen. It's our first chance to play as the real protagonist of this game.
Oh, no.
And he runs into the room where the queen is, in fact, playing her harp. It's like a stage in the middle of this lake of water. And
It's a great-looking room.
It looks great. He goes up and he,
She's surrounded by
bows.
curtains of lace.
Yep. And she sees him and is reaching for the alarm. Maybe we should describe what she looks like.
Okay.
You talking about Tits McGee?
I'm talking about the queen, Matt. Show some respect. Let's see.
I've got her picture here in the notes.
She kind of has a Queestus vibe to her.
I thought she has Janeway hair, except with a top knot.
Mm-hmm.
With a couple of loose strands, as a lot of characters do, to get like the loose strand physics that they like to show off in this game.
Mm-hmm.
She's got reddish brown hair, very dark eyeliner, which looks very nice.
A thin face.
Mm-hmm. And her outfit, it's like a bluish purple, her outfit, with a top sleeves, like a detached sleeves that are beautiful silk, floral printed, silk, a half cape.
Yeah, I love a cape.
Mm-hmm. So the material seems to be like an almost denim for her, like her main outfit. And it's like she's wearing a leotard kind of thing, like a one-piece bathing suit made out of denim with a very deep
It
V.
doesn't look like denim to me. It looks like leather, but
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like blue leather. I wouldn't even call it a V. It's like the shape
Quake
of
logo?
a wine glass.
it does look like the Quake logo, like the negative
Yeah.
Quake logo.
Mm-hmm.
It has quite the cutout. It has a circular cutout around her breasts and then a long stem that kind of goes down towards her navel.
And she has, I think, as Rachel Bloom very eloquently put it, she has heavy boobs, heavy boobs. She's got heavy
What
boobs.
the fuck?
She's got heavy boobs, sacks of mostly fat.
This seems to be what really catches. Let's all be honest here. What really catches the eye is her like ultra pale skin and like veiny chest and legs. That's not like a value judgment. Just in general, she's very veiny. Do like the chest area in a way that I don't think I have ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, she's got very vascular breasts.
You'll notice a lot of characters
and
have
legs.
that in this game. Like they're trying to do this like subsurface detail, but they don't quite have the technology to do it correctly.
Yeah,
I think it looks good actually. I don't
do
mean that
too.
again. Not trying to be horny on main, but I think it looks good.
Sometimes if you're a pale person and your skin is strained in certain areas, your veins do show.
Sure,
Yeah. But that's my point is that it's realistic in a way that you just don't usually see.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
that actually ties into something I did want to talk about, is that the facial animations, actually all of the animations for these characters in the cutscenes and in the gameplay are great.
Yeah.
The way these characters are rendered, you can tell, is awesome. Like, especially the kids that we'll get to, but like, they look great when they're, crying about the death of.
You talking about Phil and Lil? You talking about Phil Lil?
Yeah, Phil and Lil.
We'll get to that. Moving down.
Hubert Farnsworth?
She's got sort of a double thong, I guess you would say.
Yeah, no, she's got like, boy, we're taking way too long on talking about this woman's clothes. She's got like a Psylocke type outfit where she's got like a thong on, but then she's got a garter type belt over the thong, and then that is holding up a big old butt skirt. But it's not a butt skirt because her butt would hang out. Yeah, that's John. Excellent descriptive language there. It is a cargo skirt. She also has like weird thigh jod purse, like a bunch of the characters do, and like white boots and whatever. Listen, not to sound, honestly, not to be pervy, but the camera loves her fucking tits, and they have applied some legit jiggle physics to them, and they will focus in on them all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm not trying to, again, I am just a man. And the more they put boobs on screen, the more hypnotized I am. I can't stop it. I can't help it.
There's one scene later when kids are like crying about the nature of death. And it like focuses on Seth's chest for 20 seconds as it jiggles. What was happening there?
Yeah,
Johnny,
but anyway,
I don't feel like you guys fully believe me in the last episode when I was like, they get real pervy with Seth, and that every time like they want her to do anything, she jumps up and down, and then she jiggles for like 30 seconds afterwards.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm sorry.
It's a lot for sure.
So you're saying, Vanessa?
Yeah, so he sees her, he's smitten, he sort of approaches her bowing, and he's like, please don't call the guards, I'm just a humble fool, and I just want to bask in your glory for just a moment, and laugh at me, mock me if you want to. I love the plaintive sorrow and loneliness of your song. And he sort of goes on and on. She says that her name is Ming Numara. She is the queen. And then he does just roofie her right in the face.
It's magic roofies.
Yeah, he magic roofies her. And then he picks her up in his arms, and he's like, I'm gonna break you out of here in your sad life. The guards are coming for him, because he knocks over the alarm, I guess. No, he knocks over the harp and makes a big clanky clank.
Yeah.
And then you hear some voices. Why am I doing this? This is Johnny's job.
Okay. At this point, when he goes downstairs, he listens at the door, and at the door he hears that the General Kakanos and gang is arresting Kaim and Seth. And he's like, whoa, better go the other way. Now, when it goes back to the map and you're controlling Jansen, I will note that he does put Ming away in his pocket.
Yeah, he doesn't have her in his arms the full time, except in the cutscenes, which is very strange.
He's only carrying her in cutscenes, so when you're running around the map and fighting enemies, she's not there, which is jarring when she does show up.
Yep, it's very weird. So you head back upstairs because, so General Kakanas asks him to open the door. Unfortunately, Dispatch opens the wrong door. Yeah,
come on.
It looks like Kakanos is wearing a diaper over his spandex pants. It's very distracting. He's got this weird padded briefs.
Yes.
Hey, friends.
Yeah.
Hi,
Kakanos. Kakanos and Sayix need to hang out.
So you head up, so they open the wrong door and like, oh, you opened the emergency hatch in the Queen's room, you idiot. And Jansen's like, emergency hatch in the Queen's room, huh? So he heads back up there, and there's a hatch down there, and he climbs down. and with her safely tucked in his fanny pack, I guess. And, you go through these underground, I guess you're in like engineering, and you get to an engine room where there's a big furnace, and, he sees a beautiful bird. Just a beautiful bluebird flying through the engine room, and he's like, oh wow, look at that beautiful bird. But then the steam starts pouring out of the engine and is about to kill the bird, but Jansen magics away the bird, and the queen's like,
no, he magics away the steam.
Yeah,
sorry.
it freezes
He magics
the steam.
away the steam, and the bird continues to fly in the exact same spot it was when its life was being
Yeah,
threatened.
it's like
and it's like,
hummingbird
what
style.
a stupid fucking bird.
and then you hear a voice from behind saying, I knew you were a good person. And Jansen turns, and Ming is like, yeah, your roofies didn't work on me. I've taken anti-roofies because, I get a lot of guys like you. But you're not as bad as I thought you were. And he's like, oh, well, that's nice. And she's like, you don't have to speak so formally to me. I like hearing your real voice. And he's like, that's great. Wait, why can't I move? And she's like, oh yeah, I froze your legs to the floor.
Yeah. Lol. And he's like, what? Whatever. And she's like, yeah, haha, that's the guy I knew you were. Dummy.
So General Kakanos in his adult diaper briefs, padded brief things, comes down and arrests him. Cut to the audience hall where, audience chamber where Ming is giving a speech to her, loyal subjects. I guess the soldiers. I don't remember anything that she says, because I know there's some political stuff here about Grand Staff and like that Numara is under attack, right?
Yeah, she talks about that, and she's like, as a show of peace and our goodwill and our commitment to peace, we're just gonna let these guys go.
Yeah, they get raised up on a dais in front of everyone, and they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, I'll just let them go. And Kakanos is
John, that sound you just made was a real Tim Allen.
What?
Ooh?
Kakanos was very shocked. Was there a point after they leave where Ming and Kakanos were like, yeah, your plan worked perfectly or something?
Yeah, he wasn't shocked. He was like, he is behind this whole scheme to release them because he wants to follow them and see where they go so he can have evidence that they're spies.
Ah, okay, that does make sense. But all the guards are very upset that your little gang was released, and whenever you talk to them in the city, they're like, well, we got our eye on you. So it's not very subtle.
Yeah, they're like, if you were arrested, you must be guilty. We would never make a mistake.
But
Blue lives matter.
Meanwhile,
Wow.
cut to Gongora in his basement. He's got hobbies. You know, I'm glad that he's not just a villain. He's got hobbies. You know how some people have train sets and stuff? In his basement, he has a slime pit where he is using magic to make a new slime friend.
It's mud, and these are mud puppets. Thank you.
Oh. Okay.
He makes what? He makes mud.
That's
puppets?
what they call them when you fight them as Prince Glitter Kid.
Ooh.
They call them mud puppets.
Prince Glitter Pony?
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, it looks like a mud puppet's like reaching up to, and it looks like Gongora's literally about to smooch his mud puppet.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you? Can you blame him?
Well, I mean, you know, any port in a storm,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Well, no, John.
So you're saying you draw the line... You draw the line at a literal puddle of mud.
Yeah.
What about the band Puddle of Mud?
You stay far away from that, man.
What are you talking about? They had a
Aw,
great
but
song
they've given
where they
us
said
so
bitch
much.
175 times, I think.
Yeah. Their lead singer is kind of a meme at this point where he just like acts out every time he does anything in public. I think last headline I saw about him, he was drunk and high and riding an airport luggage conveyor.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
So there's stuff you can do in Numara now that you're free to explore Numara. You can find a dog named Moo for a kid who has lost their dog.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You can play scavenger hunt with some kids.
Fun.
If you'd like. You can go get into a weapons store. You have to find a password at an art gallery.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
but the guy just tells you, he's like, guess what? Here's the password for the weapons store. Lol.
At this weapons store, you get some new weapons, and you can also make super secret double rings, which have multiple effects. Now, you can't combine every ring. It's just certain rings that will combine.
I may not have noticed that you could do that. That sounds
There's a
amazing.
guy there who will do it for you, and I definitely had him do it.
I only
Wow,
constructed
actually-
one ring in this chunker, and I made a bruiser ring ultra, and it's fucking badass.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
There's also, as you walk through the crowded market street, you will unlock a story called "Don't Forget About Me." You hear?
Oh, I didn't like this.
This was a sad. Well, it was
too sad. It was bittersweet.
Yeah, I thought it was a sweet story. It's kind of a what if whatever happened to Baby Jane was more positive
Yeah.
than negative.
I'll tell it, Johnny.
Sure.
So, Kaim is in this town, and this old woman dressed as a little girl runs up to him, and she's like, big bro, big bro. And he's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what's going on. And the townsfolk are like purposely ignoring her and looking away. And then her grandson comes out, and he's like, I'm sorry. She's senile. And then the woman's like, don't forget about me here. And, Kaim is like, oh, I remember I met her when she was 8, and that was like what she said. Her family owned the inn, and it was her quirky little way of saying goodbye. So
she'd heard it from a traveler and then like started copying it. That is a very realistic thing that kids do, where they hear an expression they like and say it all the time.
yeah. So then he's like, oh yeah, I remember you. And she gets really happy, and she's like, I'm going to make you a flower crown. It's going to be so cool. And she's like all delighted because finally she sees someone who matches her perception of reality. Because in her mind, she's still 8 years old, and she doesn't know anyone in the village because she's like the oldest woman there, but she knows Kaim. So
And her great grandson's like, yeah, my mom died and my grandparents died, so I'm the only relative of hers left.
So she's gathering up flowers. She does drop dead, and then the grandson's like, oh no, but he's like, at least she was happy for once, when she died. And
Wow.
I'm gonna have a kid. I really wanted her to meet her. And Kaim is like, I'm sure she would have made a flower crown for the baby if she could have. And he's like, yeah, she would have. And that's the end.
Matt's cat is in my suitcase right now. Pretty amazing.
Good. She was in my window chasing her own fucking tail, and I couldn't say anything for like 10 minutes because all you could hear on my track is going to be fucking. It's interesting how when Kaim shows up, people seem to die.
Yeah, they're definitely in the chat when I'm streaming this game on twitch.tv/JohnnyBarnstorm. The chat does note that Kaim seems to be involved in the death of lots of either children or people who used to be children. Although, everyone used to be a child.
I think it's more that he's just happens to be remembering all the times he's seen people die.
Yeah. And this story is very, this one and the next one are both very thematic with the events that are about to happen.
Yeah.
I think so far the worst narrative choice of the game doesn't give you any goal or thing to do, but eventually, there's a cat. Eventually you just wander into these ruins on the outskirts of the town where there was a big battle. And it's mostly like a destroyed ghost town.
He loves it.
But you do see these two kids picking up these crazy blue flowers that have that like Final Fantasy magic circle with their bloom.
Yeah.
rings
They're
of
not
magic
picking them
energy.
up. They're
tending to them.
They're tending to them, yeah. Hey, Kat, why don't you come see me?
These kids are named Mac and Cook. And at first, you meet them. Mac and Cook. Now, they have famous voice actors, right?
Cook is...
Yeah, so there's a Rugrats voice actor in here, right?
Cook is the voice of Phil and Lil.
Okay, I felt like it was a Nickelodeon's cartoon, but I couldn't place it when I was listening to it.
From Rugrats. They're also the voice of Hubert Farnsworth from Futurama, the clone of Professor Farnsworth that shows up in the later seasons. And, yeah, it's cool. She does the same voice, so it's really fucking weird to listen to.
I think the other one also has a kid voice actor from something, but let's just talk about their main outfits now since they're being introduced. They aren't wearing their battle outfits, but they do have battle outfits.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We can't talk about battle outfits yet.
Jumping way ahead.
You're jumping way ahead saying that.
We'll talk about the battle outfits at the end.
Vanessa,
Thank you.
get him. Pile on with us.
Are freaking adorable.
They're
great. I think Cook, the girl, is older, and Mac, who we learn is a boy, is younger. But I gotta really give props to Mac because he is living his life. He has little pigtails on top of his head. He has like a lacy blue outfit. And Cook has kind of a high shorts that are cut out on the side and a white top. She has a ponytail with a red bow. They're adorable, and I love them, and I was delighted to see them in this game. It's quite the tonal shift.
I think Mac is younger, right? They aren't twins?
No, Mac's definitely younger, unless it's the thing where the girl has, sprouted up way faster.
Yeah. And I love that unlike pretty much every other JRPG twins, there's a lot of JRPG twins. Really, they're very, they remind me of an homage to Palom and Porum from Final Fantasy IV. And but they're kind of the opposite. Normally the boy is annoying and brash, but have you ever seen the sketch Wells for Boys from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
About a toy for sensitive boys where they look into a wishing well and move their hand over the water. And then the dad's like, what is this?
Yeah, and I think the guy who wrote that sketch is married to someone. Does that sound right?
That
Some
sketch
people are.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's great because it's what's the girl from Easy A is the mom, right? Emma Stone?
Yeah,
Emma Stone. So this other kid's this other boy comes up, a friend, and is like, that toy is weird. And the mom turns to her and she's like, they make everything for you. Everything is made for you. This one thing is for him. Can't you just let him have one thing? It is one of my favorite. It's the best Saturday Night Live sketch I think in the past 20 years, but it's so good. And I think Emma Stone should have got an Oscar for that. For sure.
It was great.
I think she should have got an Oscar for Easy A. That movie's fantastic.
It is.
Great movie.
And so Cook, meanwhile, is kind of brash and confident, but neither of them are played as annoying children. Both of them are kind of likable, which is so weird for this kind of game.
They're not precocious, scampy children like you see a lot in these kinds of games. They're well written and thoughtful little kids.
Mm-hmm. And these soldiers come by and they're like, oh, look at these flowers. These stupid kids, they got the flowers. I want to take some of these flowers, give them to my wife. And Mac won't let them. And they're like, oh, what, you going to not stop us from taking these flowers? And Mac screams very powerfully. It's like he's got a magic ability or something.
Yeah, he's like a little baby mutant or something. He sort of has a banshee scream, but it's not super strong, but it does ripple the air.
Mm-hmm.
He's I'm not gonna move ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of, the guards stumble and one of the horses runs away, but it doesn't knock them over or anything.
And one of the guards one guard keeps putting his hand on Mac's head to stop him from moving, which is just a really funny visual.
And he's like, a little baby.
And then he does knock Mac to the ground, and then Cook gets involved, and she's super mad too.
She like punches him in the face, right?
Yeah, she's actually she knows how to fight, which we'll talk about in a little. I have a theory that we'll get into about how they know how to fight. It's a fan theory. It's a headcanon.
Oh,
but
head movies.
Ninja training. Naruto.
Beat each other's asses all day long.
But they're going to actually attack the kid and arrest her for assaulting an officer. And Kaim's like, nope, not going to happen. Not on my watch. And then you fight these soldiers, and it's actually, I should have noticed. Actually, the same thing happened to me the first time where I just saved before, so I didn't save right before this. This is actually a really hard fight that you can easily lose because there's 3 foot soldiers and 2 horse soldiers, and the 2 horse soldiers have an ability called Rush, which does like 400 damage.
It's real bad.
Yeah, you can easily die here.
That's not fun.
So you defeat these soldiers. I remember the first time I played it, I got stuck here for a while. Like, I think it took me a while to figure out how to get past them because it's not an easy place to level up.
Yeah, it took me 2 try.
You got to be careful. And, and you can't concentrate on the horse soldiers first because they're in the back. So they are protected by the GC, which is a whole... I don't know how, it's used somewhat often that you can break the GC and then damage the back row. But anyway, so.
Is that why, like, you can't, we'll get to that in the Crimson Forest, but there's some very frustrating enemy configurations in the Crimson Forest. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't attack the back row until you've whittled down the GC of the front row. And you'll also notice
like 6 front row enemies. Oh gosh.
Yeah. And you'll notice that enemies will attack your front row until they've whittled down your GC to about half, and then they'll start attacking Jansen because then they can do damage to Jansen.
It sucks.
Yeah. So they're like, you should thank you. The kids are like, thank you. Well, the soldiers are not killed. Surprisingly, they're like, gosh, you guys are jerks. And they run away. And
they're like, we'll get you someday.
Yeah. And they're like, we want to thank you so much. We want to bring you to our house, which is going to be so much fun. You're going to have fun at our house.
You're going to love our house.
It's going to be a nightmare. So come to our house.
Yeah, we have a nice house and it's great.
And I do wish the game handled this narrative choice better. Like, there should have been a reason, like maybe Ming sent you over here or something because she knows what's up. But that's not what happens, and it's just like random luck that you walk over here.
Maybe it's fate, John, not random luck. Fate.
I just feel like there should have been a reason why you are supposed to walk to this part of the town. But it's not just
fate.
That it's the only place that you can go.
It's called fate.
Yes. So you get, you walk over, they tell you to meet them at their house. It's the only house with a blue door, and all the other houses are in ruins anyway. So you get over there, and oh, what a fun time you have with the kids and their mom. Just a great.
It's delightful. Yeah, their mom's there. She's like, welcome. Hello.
No.
Mom, she's in bed.
Yeah.
And
she's having a Vanessa nap.
Yeah, she's having a nap. The kids run over and they're like, hey, Mom, look who's here. And the mom looks up and she looks at Kaim and she's like...
What? She doesn't see him at first.
Yeah, she doesn't see him at first.
She's like, got some friends. And then I really like the motion capture and the performance of Seth, because Seth sees her. Seth immediately knows she's dying and like sits next to her in a very... Like the way they animate her carrying... The caring way she sits next to and like starts looking at the mom is really touching.
Yeah.
I thought. And Seth is realizing that mom is not going to be around for much longer.
Yeah, and if you sort of poke around, you can find a book on the shelf that's like, hey, we're going to send some medicine and try to send a healer or something, but, and Queen Ming is going to help as much as she can, but, make sure your papers are in order. So then she does see Kaim. And she looks at Kaim and she's like, and reaches out for him. And
Start
she's like,
of 20 minutes of crying.
Well,
Yeah.
she says the flowers brought us together.
yeah,
And
the
like
flowers let me
I didn't
see you
understand
again.
that, honestly.
Well, he when Kaim saw the flowers at first, he had this little flash where he thought about the girl who jumped off the cliff or fell off the cliff, and he was like, "Oh yeah, those flowers were blooming then too." So then he's like, what? And then he gets this flash of recognition. He thinks about Cliff Girl. He thinks about her falling off.
Well, but he also, in that memory, he sees her falling off, but he also sees her passed out next to Gongora at the same time.
Oh, is she next to him?
Yeah.
I thought he was just standing there, like on the top of the cliff.
It seems pretty ambiguous, but there's a little girl on the ground next to him. So I was wondering if this was like a projection he made.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. I don't know. But, Kaim's like, what the heck? Liram! And she's like, Daddy!
What?
Daddy. Yeah, that mom
What?
is Liram. It's the Cliff Girl. He's like, you didn't die. And she's like, no, I didn't. And he feels super terrible about.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so sorry. I thought you were dead. And she's like, it's okay. I had such a happy life. And now we're together again. Daddy. Then she dies.
Well,
And she fucking
tells,
dies.
Well, she tells the kids, this is your grandfather. I know that he looks very young, but he's actually your grandfather. And the kids are like, what? And they'd heard all sorts of stories about you. And then she's like, and Kaim's like, well, I'll go find your mother. I need to find Sarah. And then we can bring you to her. And
yeah, he can suddenly like remember everything. And he's like, oh yeah, there were a whole bunch of us immortals. One of them was Sarah, my wife. And she's like, where's mom? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I never saw her after that day. I know this Gongora guy was there. I don't really know what the fuck he was doing. This is all kind of a big surprise for me. But
he also gets a flashback to kissing Gongora's ring, right? That Gongora
like kneeling before Gongora, and Gongora's like, show your loyalty to me, and he gives him a little smoochie on his ring.
Yeah, you like give my ring a smoochy woochie.
You're like, I'll give you a little smooch.
And he remembers Gongora basically mind controlling him and like saying, you'll be my servant now, and
He's
all
like,
that.
yes, Gongora.
And but meanwhile back there, she's like, so take care of my kids. And he's like, well, no, I don't need to, because you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be just fine.
And she's like, lol. Sure I am, Pops.
Yeah, time to die.
She's like, I've just been on my deathbed waiting for, someone to come take care of these kids. So they're your problem now, Grandpa. And he's like, Grandpa.
It's a little weird because these kids look kind of destitute and like they're alone with their dying mother who can't get out of bed. But we also, I believe, understand that she's like BFFs with Ming, the queen. That's weird.
Ming's just a figurehead.
Well, I think maybe Ming knows Kaim. I don't know. This gets very complicated, and I don't know if she knew that this was Kaim's kid and that's why she was helping or something. Who knows?
Well, they live in like a town that's been abandoned, essentially, but I think they just didn't want to leave.
Right. And so here is... So these kids both have magic and combat abilities, right? And my theory is that she was like a dance mom for magic school. That she would like take them around Numara and Kent and Goatsea and Ura, and she would like put them in all these competitions and just be like, no, my kids are going to be the greatest spirit and white magic mages ever. And she was just like real high pressure on them. And that is how they have become the kids that they are.
Well, maybe that's why they live out there in the middle of nowhere, so they can practice their magic in peace.
What happens if there used to be other houses there and people?
So you're saying
and
she
actually put
deserved
them all
what
up?
you got there, John?
Yeah, John
Is
thinks that she
what I'm to
deserved
understand?
to die.
That's not what I said. I was just trying to.
Yeah, that seems.
John.
I was just saying that she's a dance mom.
John
the kids
worked
are real,
for Red Letter Media.
Our real JoJo Siwas.
Yeah, so she doesn't die, and the kids are like, what are we supposed to do now? And Kaim's like, well, I had this flashback about my sexy wife, your grandmother, so we're gonna go find her.
Come on,
That's
Jim.
right. It's a quest for sexy
wife.
grandma.
Sexy
wife.
grandma? I thought we agreed it's horny grandma.
It's
Oh,
I don't know
always
if she's
grandma.
horny or
Grandma.
yet. She hasn't been introduced yet, but
No,
this woman.
She's always sexy, sometimes horny. That's what's important.
Yeah, I mean, I
Always
guess
sexy, sometimes
they had
horny.
Lirum, so she must have been horny at least once, one would hope.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're just on a
we
quest
talk
for
a lot
grandma.
about the jiggle physics in this game, but you know what this game also has? Tier physics.
Tier physics?
Yeah.
It has
Why is that, John?
tier physics. You'll notice the tiers are like,
TEAR.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they are collecting on the eyelids of the kids, and you see them like stream down the faces, and they also like reflect and distort the light around
Yeah.
them.
I think the reason why the next dungeon is only red is because they spent all the budget for this disc on these kids' tears.
So now it's obviously time just to head off immediately on our quest to find
Nope.
grandma, right?
Nope. Nope.
Well, first of all, they're like, well, it's bedtime now, and it starts raining because, as we've discussed before, sympathetic fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the rain is a metaphor for their emotional turmoil and sadness, and the tears that those kids start bawling.
Well, their
They're
mom
like,
died,
"Mwah,
so
mwah, mwah." Our mom has gone.
it's pretty
There.
dark.
It is pretty dark, but cut to the rain out in Ura, because Prince Sparkle Pony is like, he's having an unrelated moment in a different story where he's like, Father, I want to be a good warrior and wise and as smart as you, but I'm an idiot. What can I do, Father? I try to get him to
and
sound like,
We get to play as Prince Ura, the real protagonist of the game.
Prince Tolkien.
So, does anybody else raise your hand if you think that the fact that you get to play as him and he has like a whole little moveset means that he will end up in your party?
Well, I hope so, because I want to steal those sweet, sweet moves he's got. He's got like a move that attacks all the front row. He's got a power hit, and frankly,
Mac
Seth
has a couple of those abilities.
well, we haven't got to Mac playing as
Well,
Mac
you've
yet.
already told the listeners that he has combat ability, so I guess I can talk about it. You know?
I personally haven't seen them this playthrough because I stopped at the switching of the discs. But, Vanessa, are you okay?
I was shocked. I thought you were going to say that you didn't finish the chunker, but in fact, the switching of the discs is when the chunker ends.
And so you do get to play as Prince Sparkle Pony, and I did covet his abilities, and I was like, I want to suck those skills out with my skill link suction ability and go.
We don't have to call it a suction ability.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Like,
It's a linking ability, which is why they call it a skill link.
well,
It's a
they're
link,
linked
not a suck.
with
He
a
just
straw.
wants to suck them off.
He sucks those abilities out of them, Jim. Like, why fancy it up with your words?
Because
Let's
it's
just
not called
call it what
a
it
skill
is.
suck. It's
He
called
sucks those skills out and gets them all over him.
He
It's
puts-
not a
he puts
skill
his
suck
lips-
fest.
lips to the forehead of Prince Dalton, and it'll be like,
It's
Oh,
called
I
a
forgot
skill
that
link.
happens.
Yeah, you link.
Because they
your
link
lips.
they link genitals and lips, and that's how it gets transferred.
Yeah.
oh, and there's something. Well, we'll talk about it after.
It's sort of a docking process.
yeah. Well,
It can only happen between immortals and mortals because immortals, as we know, are not circumcised.
Jesus.
Ducking's when one man fucks another man's penis hole, right?
No, that's not a thing that happens. That would be like extreme sounding. Anyway.
Like really extreme.
John, hold on. Can you explain the terminology you just used?
You know what? I'm going to walk away if he starts explaining it. I grossed myself out with that comment.
Can you,
Sam Elliott here.
Can you make the title of the episode Extreme Sounding or whatever you said?
Sure.
All right, moving
Jim
on.
just wants that so he can like remember what you said so he can Google it later.
No, I want the SEO value of whatever.
Guys, I know we're
whatever
having a
John
lot of fun
said.
here, but I just feel like I need to point out that we have a funeral to talk about.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah.
So
And it's a long funeral.
the prince is in the courtyard of the castle talking to the big old statue of his dad and just wants guidance. But then he's challenged. The prince gets the challenge that he needs, and in the form of a slime friend. Sorry, a mud puppet. He's attacked by a whole bunch of these really creepy, crawly, goopy mud puppets. They are brown and goopy, and they do attack him. And they do quite a bit of damage, surprisingly. But he's got lots of healing items, and he's got that one ability that can kill every single one of them in one hit, which is that row swipe one. So you can do that. And he's like, whew, thanks for your guidance, father. I felt like I really did well in this combat.
This combat.
But then, who's there?
His
Vanessa.
best friend.
Roxian isn't his friend. Roxian's the chairman of
the chairman
Republic.
first. I forgot.
Yeah, and Roxian's like, hey, buddy, I'm here to kill you. And the prince is like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to do that?
Matt just came in here. The cat was hanging out in here. Matt just came in here, took the cat, and left. He said he wants to see the cat.
Super jealous. He's like, this is my cat, my special friend.
I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I want the cat.
I think
Come to my home.
Hey, look, he has a cat in his arms right now. He's burping her.
I think I cannot do that to my cat. My cat would kill me if I tried that. Would Jack let you do that, Vanessa?
Jack is pretty docile at times. It kind of depends. But he rarely actually bites or scratches me, but he would get wiggly and try to run away.
Yeah, I can't flip my cat over and scratch her tummy without her. Well, I can't flip her over. She would just like claw me and run away.
Yeah,
if I tried
I
that.
definitely flip Jack. He doesn't like it. So if I try to like get at his tummy, he kind of puts his paws. Like sometimes I put my head on his belly to like go like right on his soft belly. And he will put his paws on my head and try to push it away, but he's weak. It doesn't work.
I would get claws down my face if I tried that with Porky.
Chungus
cat
like
likes belly
sometimes when
rubs.
she's laying next to me, sometimes I'll like tip her backwards and rub her tummy, and she really likes it, but it's only for like maybe 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could do it for like 10 seconds with
Oh, I
Porky.
see you flipping your tail.
Attacks
You're getting
me.
tired of this, huh?
So
Okay.
anyway, there is a bit of writing here that I thought was subtle and good, where Roxian is talking about his reasons for wanting to kill the prince, and they are almost line for line identical to what Gongora said people were planning. If you
Yeah.
remember,
That's not
Which-
nice.
which is good writing, I thought.
Yeah,
Because he's like,
he says if there's any member of the royal family left, then the dissidents will continue to push for the restoration of the monarchy. So if they extinguish the royal bloodline, then they won't have to worry about any more insurrection.
And he's like, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king.
Yeah.
And then you start the battle, and your only move that you can do at first is like talk to the guy.
Inquire.
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 Yes, that's the
Yeah,
command.
inquire.
Why are you trying to
That's
kill
the
me?
worst.
but yeah, Prince Tolton really does try to talk his way out of it, but Roxian just keeps
For,
slamming
like,
him.
3 whole turns where you're taking like
A lot of
275,
damage.
300 damage a turn.
Yeah. And then eventually you do have to start damaging him, and 2 power hits will kill Roxian completely.
I did a power hit, a heal, and a power hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I did,
because
too.
like he only
Me
casts
too.
wind on you, I think.
Right, but it does a lot. It does some damage.
It does, quite a bit of damage.
Yeah. And the prince's armor does look very magnificent and
It
sparkling.
does.
Oh, it's so
In the rain.
sparkly.
Such a delight, legitimately. It looks great, too. This game looks really good.
Sometimes I find some of their like woods, not the Crimson Forest, but like the mountains looked like garbage for some reason.
Oh, really?
They looked like basic PS2 assets, but some areas like the courtyard here in the Crimson Forest look great, and Ura looks great, and Numara looks really pretty. Although Numara has a kind of PS2 look to it as well. But this is an early 360 game. And so after he strikes down Roxian, who happens to show up right in time? He's like, I just came as soon as I could because, as you know, I was under house arrest and could be arrested for coming here to save you. It's Gongora.
Yeah, and the prince is like, oh my god, I can't believe you risked your house arrest to come here. You're the only guy who ever shows up whenever my life is threatened. So
something
that
that
means
I
you're
will not put together.
Yeah, you're clearly my bestest friend.
Yep. And he's like, yes, exactly. Now I have cleaned up my share of bodies. It was an accident. He's like, no, I killed Roxy. He's like, no, Roxian died in an accident.
And it will be our little secret. And you sure are gonna owe me. He doesn't say that, but we know.
Wink. And so the prince walks away. The camera lingers on Roxian's body as it turns into a mud puppet. Just like that one episode of G.I. Joe where Shipwreck is trapped in the town and everyone's acting super weird. And whenever he discovers that they are, there's something wrong with them, they dissolve into mud puppets.
Wow.
Best episode of G.I. Joe.
That sounds pretty good. And don't we get some kind of flashback to the councilman, like sitting at his table?
I think that's just like the next. I don't think it's I think it's what happens next. I think.
Oh, yeah, great, John.
Yeah.
So now that Roxian has done what he thought he would do, cut to the council chambers where Roxian's just staying up late doing some work, catching up. He's doing some overtime. And he's there doing paperwork when suddenly he hears a noise and looks up, and there is Snake.
A big old snake. We're all very scared of having a snake in our home. And in fact, I think one of us had to deal with that recently.
Snake. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun.
That's how I leveled up this week. I fought a snake. That's right. And thankfully, I have this great new cat in my house because the cat cornered the snake in the kitchen and alerted me to it. And I was able to trap it under a box and push it outside.
Well, that's good.
Was it a turn-based battle?
Kinda. That would be a good way to describe it. It got under my stove, and I had to pull the stove drawer out, and I had a broom, and I basically tried to sweep it back into the kitchen proper. I blocked the kitchen off so it couldn't get out. So we did have a combat arena, and it was basically like me squatting down and like trying to get the snake with the broom, and pulling the broom out, and then the snake would take its turn to get further back under my oven. I should have just turned the fucking oven on. That's what I should have done.
Matt?
Well, they're
snake.
cold-blooded. That would attract them more.
Yeah, might have heard it, though.
Well, anyway, eventually I got it out, and then I got it under a box.
Yay!
Yay!
So, this snake was
Florida,
not
ladies
as
and
gentle,
gentlemen.
unfortunately, because it does back Roxian into a corner. And then, like, the Gongora's face, like, sort of hovers over the snake's face, and it does fade to black as you hear Roxion's death cries.
What?
Yeah.
I agree with you, John, that this is, so he uses some mud puppets to fool the prince into thinking he's killed him. And then once the prince thinks he's killed him, he goes and murders the guy that is fucking with him.
For some reason, I took this as like, but here's what really happened.
So this is full-blown confirmation, as if we didn't have enough, that Gongoria is a bad guy.
I feel like when you saw the cutscene where he was laughing maniacally at the slime monster he was making, that he was probably pretty much a bad guy. Or when you saw him like watching as Kaim's kid died.
Yeah, that's the real kicker. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't quite sure how to interpret that scene either, but it seems like Gongoria was there. Also worth noting, Gongoria looks like he's the same age, like he has not aged, so therefore Gongoria immortal ?
Well, yeah, and I think Kaim, when he's listing immortal people, does say Ming, Sarah, Seth, and Gongoria. Yeah. And himself.
Yeah.
So another immortal. This is the movie Hancock. I tell you.
I've never seen Hancock, but I thought that was about a drunk superhero.
I would watch them. It's actually like the Act 1 is that. Act 1 is a weird comedy. Act 2 and 3 are just like a pretty good superhero movie.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more interesting than you think it's going to be.
We have got to talk about this fucking funeral.
Okay. That's champing at the bit or chomping at the bit. Both are acceptable now.
If this is a 3-hour recording, I'll execute Jim, and that'll be it for Jim Banks. That's what happens.
Fun.
Did he die? Did he go to bed?
Jim.
What
Jim's
happened to
been
him?
Awfully quiet for a while.
I don't know. Is he pooping?
I don't know.
Pooping or not?
So the cut to the next day, and Kaim wakes up, and who is outside but the most terrifying person I've ever seen? Funeral director Melvi.
Yeah. Just the guy you want to comfort you at your funeral.
He's got a bizarre two-tone face mask with it's a white face mask with a big orange stripe down the middle, a giant Mad Hatter hat covered in roses, and he's got roses to the side. He's got a large flowing dress, which is also adorned with roses. He's a very frilly and feminine, a very interesting character, I think.
He is.
Jim, were you pooping? Jim.
I guess.
Jim, John asked if you were pooping.
No, I
Okay.
I didn't go number 2.
So, I guess that Liram had prearranged her funeral because he just shows up and he's like, all right, everyone's got things to do. Mac and Cook. Cook, you're going to go gather some flowers. Kaim, you're going to go grab some sticks. And Mac's like, I want something to do too. And, yeah, you like that one?
No, I don't. I don't do the voices.
Even though this was like kind of a tedious part of the game, I think all the thought they put into what goes into the funeral ceremony was actually kind of neat.
Yeah,
the funeral director says a lot of lovely things, actually.
Yeah, he does.
And
Okay.
I did get teary-eyed at the end of this fucking funeral.
Yeah, man, it's a real touching scene.
Mac has the most important job.
Just to point out, is fucking bonkers. What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a game? What is this? Why am I doing a funeral?
It's an interactive story.
With my grandkids.
Yeah, it's sort of a RP novel-G.
Yeah. It's like a Life is Strange, but with text segments and turn-based combat. So Mac is going to do
a Persona game like this, but like with instead of like the visual novel style.
Yeah, I think that would work too. Liram is going to be, so you go do these mini games, you find the flowers and grab sticks. I had problems with this the first time I played it, but now that I'm an RPG professional, I did this with no issues. Did you have any problems finding the flowers or getting the sticks?
No, not at all.
Well, I guess we're all pro gamers now.
It took me a minute to find the 10th flower, because there's one area that you can only get to as like the child that I didn't know how to get to. It took me a while to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. So Lirim is put into like a small canoe, a sort of a funeral raft. I don't know what they're called. And she's adorned in flowers. Mac has grabbed one of those special flowers that they were saving because they thought, they sort of mentioned that they thought keeping these flowers alive would keep the mom alive. And he pulled one out and put it into a pot, to bring to his mom because he thought it would make her happy. And Cook is furious at this because the flower has wilted. And this is one of those special flowers that they're trying to keep alive. And isn't there something that the soldiers say about these flowers that like grant wishes or something?
Yeah, something.
There's like an urban legend about these flowers. And Cook's like, look what you did. You think mom would like this? You think mom would like you killing one of these flowers? And Mag's like, no, I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. And, then you get to the ceremony. So, Jim, do you want to describe the ceremony?
So I like that they called this area of the map, Funeral Beach, which is an ominously named part of the map. But, so they have the mother's corpse, put up in a boat that's surrounded by flowers. Mm-hmm. And, I don't really know how to accurately describe what's going on. They have a lot of ribbons tied to like a central post on the beach.
Well, he gives them to Kaim to hold, right? So Kaim's job is to like keep her from floating off. The ribbons are holding the boat.
Yeah, and what they have, so they have, is it Cookie? What's the name of this kid?
Mac is the boy.
Oh, Mac is the boy
that's
so
holding the torch.
Mac is charged with holding the torch, and his job is to light the torches of all of the other folks at the funeral wanting to pay their wishes, and each person uses their lit torch to ignite one of the ribbons that will eventually put the mom's corpse out to sea.
And it reminds me of Eco. Like, these people are wearing these creepy stone masks. They're all of Lirim's friends that show up for the funeral. And it's a weird but a very beautiful scene. And so the mini game is that you are moving around the torch to follow their movements. It sounds like it's going to be complicated, but it's super easy.
It's super easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And kind of fun. It's like, yeah, I'll move this torch around.
Yeah.
Everyone says something nice about this kid's mom as he cries. Like it's fucking.
No, Mac doesn't cry through the funeral. They
whatever.
mentioned that.
Somebody cries. Your mom cries. What do you want from me? People cry.
Everyone cries.
It's a funeral. I was crying.
Yeah. Everyone says something nice about the mom, and it's very beautiful as they pay their respects. And then
shit, Jim.
What?
You left something in here.
Oh, that's your gag that you tried to trick me with earlier.
Sorry.
Is it
left
a
this
puppet?
in my room.
Is it a cat tail?
Yeah.
It's a tail.
Oh. So, I think, is Mac the last one? Is he the one who has to set fire to the last string to let it drift off?
No, I think it's the last lady.
Oh, okay. And, the mom drifts off into Mother Ocean. One of the cruel, viewers of my stream was like, yeah, do you think there's just like an island 2 kilometers away where all the bodies just like stack up and rot?
Yeah, Funeral Beach next to Rot Flesh Island.
Yeah, we don't know why, but diseases keep coming from that island. We can't figure it out.
Yeah. But if you stand on Funeral Beach and the wind is blowing in from the ocean, you can be with your loved ones again.
Ugh.
Oh, Vanessa.
What?
So Kaim has like a growing pains moment with the kids where he like, or maybe the end of a Full House episode where, the kids were fighting and then he's like, but he's actually like, there's an important lesson here. So he like Bob Saget's the kids about like how, the mom is dead. Because they ask him, he's like, yeah, I've seen hundreds and thousands of people die and it's always hard. And he's never seen them come back. So they're gone forever. And then the kids turn and they notice that the flower has bloomed again in Mac's pot.
Mm-hmm.
And they take that
Mac is like, it's mommy. And the cook is like, no, it's not, dummy.
Yeah.
I expected Kaim to kind of jump in here and try to like comfort his grandkids because
No, he's not going to do that.
They're kind of arguing about it because like the boy is like, this is proof that mom is here with us and she's near, and then the girl is like, oh no, that's impossible, and Kaim just stands there.
Kaim hasn't been a dad for a long time.
Yeah, and he's getting he'll be full Bob Saget soon, but right now he's stand-up comedian Bob Saget making off-color jokes.
I mean, he's at his daughter's funeral too.
Yeah. He's got a lot on his mind, but he's still, like, you do see a big shift in Kaim's character now that he's got most of his memories back because he's really nice to the kids and very patient with him, more like the Kaim in the stories rather than the like cloud-like, squall-like Kaim you first get introduced to.
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison. Jim and I were talking about it earlier, actually. Like it starts the same as a lot of Final Fantasy games, but then very quickly, like, it's like a bait and switch. It's neat.
Well, and like, I expected this reveal of like what really happened with the people on the cliff to be like a third act kind of reveal. And before Disc 1, like, that whole thing is just solved. Which is pretty cool.
So what now?
Yeah. It like it legitimately makes me wonder what's going to happen next in the game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Kaim gives a little speech. He's like, the first time my daughter died, it just destroyed me. I didn't know what to do. I lost all my memories. This time, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to go find sexy grandma. I'm going to go find Gungora, and I'm going to make him suffer for all time and all eternity.
Yeah, he's pretty mad.
He's mad.
Yeah, he's got a mission now, and
I'm going to bring these small children with me.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm bringing these babies with me.
Well, that's not exactly what happens, because after the funeral, Cook, we have a conversation with Cook, right, where she tells us that Mac is gone.
Cook's like, yeah, he's gone to the dangerous Crimson Forest, which a few people and like some books you can find give you background to, that there was a battle 500 years ago. Ming even mentioned it, where she had to kill the spirit tribe with her black magic, and it stained the forest red with blood and angry spirits.
It's also pretty fucking far on the map. On the loading screen map.
Yeah, it is.
What did this kid walk for 3 fucking days and we couldn't catch him before he got into the forest?
I think he does have haste.
Yeah, he cast haste on himself and ran there.
So on the way to the forest, 2 things happen. 1, a bell rings, reminding Kaim
bing bong.
of a very short story. This is probably the shortest story so far, called Evening Bell, where he remembers working on a farm with this older, stout woman who has had a tough life of farming, and every night when the evening bell rings, she says a prayer thanking, I guess, the creator or life for giving her another day to live. And they also, a funeral passes by and everyone bows their head as this body is taken through the streets. And Kaim is like, this village is all about their mortality and celebrating the honor of mortality and the chance of living another day. And I don't belong here. I have to leave. And the lady's like, what, don't you want to stay? And he's like, no, after this harvest, I'll help you out then, but I got to go because I don't deserve to live here.
Yep. Because he doesn't appreciate every day because he has too many of them.
Yep. Also on the way, you see there is a shot of General Kakanas opening the gates from the dock, and all these tanks drive out. Cut to Jansen. War's tankless. Or so I thought.
Oh, yikes. When I saw that, I was like,
But he does come back with a very good joke at the end of this chunker. I think one of the best jokes in any game we've played. So we get to the Crimson Forest and everything is red and creepy. There's these enemies that they were in the mountains as well, but they're called Kelolons. They're like these little sprouts, these little green sprout guys with like a shell helmet and little spears, and they are adorable, and they're full. This forest is full of them. And they have like a move where 3 of them gather together to do like a super move. And it's so cute. Have you seen that one, Jim? Where they like climb over each other and then launch one of them at one of your characters?
No.
And they all make like these squeaky noises as they're fighting, like,
Yuck.
and they can like, if you attack one and miss, they do a little dance, and they can summon a mage. The mage is super adorable. And there's one that's like a dancer that if you attack them is like sassy and like waves at you because you missed. And there's a metal one like in it's a Dragon Quest homage where it's like a metal slime and sparkles.
I did run across one of those, but I couldn't hit it and it ran away.
I bet it gives you a ton of experience or something.
Yeah, it does. I looked it up.
Okay. There's just all these Kellolons, and they're a lot of fun, and they're easy to kill. There's a lot of fire-based enemies, so I would recommend, not that anyone's going to listen to my pro tips, but if you equip water rings on Seth and Kaim, it makes this area way easier because you do a heck of a lot more damage. So,
I mean, by this point in the game, I'm swapping rings in the fights.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, it's a free action too, so you can
wow.
You have to hit left on the D-pad.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Matt. I didn't know that. Thank you for that pro tip.
Yeah, you can swap them out mid-fight. So, and I just do that all the time because it does do an extra like 60 damage, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's not insignificant. So you might as well
like
get that bonus.
25% damage increase depending. Well, it depends on if it's ultra or whatever level,
One thing that frustrates me about this game is that the enemies seem to have a ton of health, and it takes 2 physical attacks to take out an enemy versus 1 magic attack, which seems really like unbalanced to me. It makes the physical combat people feel kind of useless,
and it makes Jansen's. But if Seth or Kaim try to use magic, they are nowhere near. They do like a third of the damage that Jansen does. So they're better off using swords, but it's fine. I think the balance is a little off, maybe. Here's one section where, so I got to level, I think 19, and that's the point where suddenly combat doesn't give you very much XP anymore. And, there's this enemy encounter in the second screen that were these 2 giant, like mossy, giants, I guess. And they, or mossy colossus or something. And it took me 5 minutes to do this random battle, and I got like 1 or 2 SP and 2 XP. And I was like,
with the big tree guys, John.
Yeah.
They call them like red, I want to say red Ent, but I know it's not Ent because it's a Lord of the Rings thing, but it's something like that. And these
Treant, maybe
it's something like that. But like, and when they're paired up with a certain kind of enemy, I think those like firefly guys, they can cast a spell on these guys called Flare Mine, to where wherever you physically attack them, it will deal fire damage to your character. Ugh, it's so frustrating.
So I literally ran away from those
I
bosses, or from those random encounters.
They weren't
worth it. When I didn't get any XP.
There's an enemy combo here that's like, it's like 5 or 6 firefly guys with a bug guy in the back row.
And it slurps them up.
Yeah, when I fought this and eventually beat it, because I feel like it took me a long time, I was like, that felt like a mini boss fight. Like, these guys are difficult.
There's also, you do see the first of like 2nd level magic, because there's some enemies that cast Flare on you. I was like, oh, this game, it's not Fyra, it's Flare. I laughed at that. So there's a bunch of like secret passages and elevators and stuff that you cannot do in this chunker, but I think you'll be able to do in the next chunker. Cause you're like, oh, there's all these little side passages with the elevators, and you see treasure chests you can't get to and stuff.
Yeah. I think they even say, we can't use this because we don't have spirit magic.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely do that. So you do go down to, take this floating stone down, and then there's a puzzle where I unlocked half a tablet, which I think is something that is a next chunker thing. I moved, I I moved a rock onto the elevator to unlock half a tablet. I don't know what that's all about.
I rolled that rock around and I couldn't figure out what to do with it.
Put it on the elevator, and eventually the elevator goes up with the rock, and then you get an item.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other side, so there's this, there's a passageway full of Raiders of the Lost Ark boulders that you gotta dodge, where they knock you down. And these Raiders of the Lost Ark boulders, are involved in getting to the boss room. There's a little puzzle here. That's it. So you have to the puzzle is that you have to trigger one after moving a statue. You have to push a statue out of the way, or a pillar out of the way, so that it smashes through the door to the boss room, which I thought was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. I got hit by the boulder that was falling down the staircase about 7 times.
I haven't. What happens? Is there an extra area that it unlocks or something?
You get knocked down. You get knocked down 2 levels, and there's just like a bed of vines on either side of the catwalk that you have to just go around, and there's an elevator that gets you back up to where the boulder is.
Did I miss any sweet treasure?
Nope, there's nothing down there. Just random enemy encounters.
Oh boy. So you get to the boss room after a save point, and Mac is there. He is not looking so good. He's glowing all purple, and he floats up, and Jansen takes a look at him and says, puberty is weird.
Got him. What a singer, Jansen. I love him.
Throughout all these cutscenes, I have one recommendation, especially for the funeral cutscenes. Anytime there's an emotional cutscene where Kaim or any character has to talk about life and death or deal with a sad person, to make these cutscenes more impactful, you can equip the treasure glasses, because they do look like Jamiroquai glasses.
They look very silly, no matter who they're on.
Because they're like these 90s far out shades. And so I like making sure Jansen has his Jamiroquai glasses on for every impactful cutscene, because he just looks like the coolest dad ever. Vanessa, do you like that the accessories appear? And what accessories have you seen that you like the best?
I had not noticed that at all. So I felt very foolish when you were sending your pictures of these cool accessories. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for those boss earrings and everything.
There's a level 2 magic earrings that teach you both level 2 black and white magic as a skill. And, they are these little yin and yang red. They look like Pokeballs, and they're pretty funny seeing equipped to a character. There's one that's like a spangle that goes to the side. There's lots of different types of accessories, so they'll show up on different types of, different parts of the body, and they're all pretty fun to try and find them on your character in cutscenes. Or you can move, if they're close to the camera, you can sort of move around and try to see them. But I like that they're represented in game. I think that's a neat touch.
Did we mention, I'm sorry, Johnny, but when Kaim is having his talk with Seth about what he's going to do, it does cut to Jansen listening in on them with a little listening ear device, doesn't it?
Oh, I did forget about that. Yeah, and it's like a weird sort of, I guess, from the Magic Industrial Revolution. Have you heard about that?
The Magic-Industrial Revolution?
From 30 years ago?
Yeah, the one from 30 years ago that has changed the world forever. So yeah, he's using that earpiece that does flash when everyone is talking. So do you think he's going to report this all back to Gongora?
I don't know, because there was also a time where I swear it showed his eye, and his eye clicked like a camera lens.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that happens for sure.
That
Is
definitely
he a
does
robot?
happen.
He's a spy.
Something's going on. And is he aware of it, or is some of it happening in the background? He doesn't know he's got a spell cast on him or something.
He definitely casts a spell on the ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called Rufy's magic.
Oh, Jonathan.
Whoa.
That's what Vanessa called it.
I can say that.
I don't think so.
So, Mac floating up, and then Cook is like, I want to go help him. And Kaim's like, no, don't. And she does anyways. And a tentacle grabs her, and you got to save her from this obsidian miasma, which has her in its tentacly grasp. It's like magic tentacles.
Mm-hmm. You gotta hit the tentacle with the little baby girl first to get her on out of there. And then eventually it drops Mac, and Mac stands there with his hands over his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not
well, he's like in
a
it's like a guarding position.
Oh, I thought he was trying to like cover his mouth so he doesn't accidentally yell you
No,
to
he's
death.
got his hands crossed in front of him, and he's defending the miasma.
Oh. So you can hit him if you want to, but then the characters will discuss how they probably should not hit the little boy. He's just a baby boy, and Jansen's like, let's just knock him out. He's stupid.
Apparently, you can get to the miasma not having leveled up Cook, and then that first boss fight is really, really hard because it's sucking, like, I think it does more damage to her if she's lower level.
Oh, dear. I definitely leveled her up because she's great. She has Pray, which is, as we know from every RPG, a healing ability without using magic points.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to pray just to make it today.
That was a beautiful song.
That's MC Hammer.
I liked it.
Yeah. So you do attack this thing. So what do you do? Did anyone try killing Cook or killing Mac?
Can you kill Mac? That would be pretty fucking funny.
I think it's game over if you do.
I think the best way to do it is to put everyone to sleep you can, right?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Just Mac. You just
well,
put
not
Mac
everyone.
It's just one guy.
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah, if you put Mac to sleep, then you can attack the miasma until he wakes up. And that is the secret puzzle to this puzzle boss.
Also, he wakes up fucking immediately.
I had one time, because I think I only had to put him to sleep twice, maybe. But one time he fell asleep for 2 rounds. I was like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It depends if he's snoozing or standing there in guard position. And then you can't target the miasma anyways. So no one killed Mac?
No.
I think it's game over if you do. Well, yeah, that's the boss. And so after you kill this boss, Mac says he was just trying to like bring this flower over so that it would, I don't know. What was he trying to do? Like reach his mom somehow? Know. And he like thought there's some power here.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to talk to his mom because this is where you go to talk to the dead. And the forest is crimson because 300 years ago there was a big fight and the blood of the soldiers stained the soil.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kaim does like not touch the flower that Mac brought there, and something happens. It starts growing and spreading, the vines reaching everywhere. And Seth is like, there's some kind of magic here, and Kaim's like, is it another creature? She's like, no, this is a gentle, tender force. This is a positive force, a force for good. And then all these petals start blooming and showering them with rose petals. And Seth's like, it's a miracle. And Mook and Kak are like, hey, this is mom coming to talk to us. We've reached her. This is her. And, Kaim is, who said the dead aren't coming back. I don't know. He thinks maybe it is. It's hard to say. What do you think? Was that the mom?
It was a miracle. It was a miracle. That's what they all shout. They're like, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Miracle.
Well, the miracle is that we finished
on
this
34th
chunker
Street
of Square Roots.
We
that
did
is
it.
a miracle.
This was a very enjoyable chunker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but before we go, let's talk about their battle outfits now that we have both characters. Dun, dun,
Mac
dun.
Cook has that same high collar that Jansen has that John referred to as a popped collar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
a mage.
It's not a popped collar. Yeah, it's like a Doctor Strange collar.
Yeah.
It's just like a really high collar that's like starchy.
It's a magician's collar, isn't it,
goes.
Vanessa?
Yeah, it is.
That's
for sure.
right.
Cook has one of those like thick wrapped bows around her. Where
An
it's like
obi? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I have no
think
idea.
so. I think you're right.
Seems right?
Yeah, and a very ornate staff that she starts with, although I bet that will go away. She's got a little skirt with a diamond pattern on it. She's got boots with these giant buckles, these like seashell buckles or something. I don't know. And she's still got her little bow. Mac has the two little pigtails or like man buns, dual wielding man buns. And he's got a little bracer on his arm. He's got a big old messenger bag up front, which I guess he carries his toys and gear in. He's a Game Boy. He's got buckles that match Cook's buckles. And his outfit is more green and yellow, while Cook's is more red and green and yellow. And that's the difference between the two.
Cook has little heels on her boots, and her brother has some slip-ons, like some slip-on clogs.
Some Crocs. Magic Crocs. They're cute. They really, for children in a JRPG, I think they might be the top tier children in a JRPG. They're really likable and
cute.
Fun. Yeah.
They can't hold a candle to the twins from Infinite Undiscovery, which we haven't played on the show yet, but we certainly will.
As
someday.
The mom was drifting off to sea when I was streaming this the other day, I did say, dinner. But they are much less horrible.
I was sure these kids were going to break into the dinner song. This, like, John, in the past, when you've talked about Lost Odyssey and or Infinite Undiscovery, it's like I've kind of in my brain they've been interchangeable. So like when I saw these kids, I was like, oh man, we're gonna get to talk about the dinner dance. But this was a much more somber affair than that.
Yes. Sadly, no dinner dance. There were a bunch of bullshit minigames. I think the most fun one was the torch lighting. I think that was actually a good time. There was stealth sections. I hate a stealth section in a game that's not a stealth game. I'm bad at them and they're annoying. And that's it. Jim. What are you squarely against?
I was really trying to dunk on the funeral ceremony. I think I sent you guys a message when I was playing it that said, pardon me while I light a torch for every NPC we've met in the entire game so far. But I ultimately really enjoyed the whole ceremony, and I'm roundly for the presentation of this whole part of the game. What about you, Vanessa? What are you squarely against?
I am... This is tough, because I've really been enjoying this chunker as well. I guess I'm roundly for Jansen's amazing seductive magic.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, problematic.
Matt, what are you squarely against?
Listeners and friends, I'm not the type of person that likes to be so-called horny on main. But I am roundly for Ming.
Because
and you know
she's
why.
a strong female character.
That's not why.
Why?
So you're saying you'd
Talking
like...
about them veiny titties!
Oh.
Back me up, fellas! John, I know that it's not really your deal, but you still back me up if you want to. You don't have to. It's up to you.
All the men say, what? All the men say, hey. All the ladies say, ho.
I am... let's see. I am squarely against the one shot when they're talking about how the mom is dead in the altar after you defeat the Obsidian miasma, and Seth is talking and the camera does not pan up. It's just there on her jiggling breasts for 30 seconds for no reason. What was it seemed like a glitch, but it's no glitch. They just wanted to show off the breast physics. And that's it. Emails. Did we find any emails? Did we get any emails today?
Yes, we certainly did. And I'm going to read them on the air. Get ready. Here they come. Are you ready for this? Email number 1.
There's so much build up.
have lots
so
of
much
fun.
build up to these emails.
From Dan Double N.
That's me.
Hello, pals.
Hey.
Through means of which I'm not at liberty to discuss, I acquired a kitty kitten cat.
What?
But it has no name. Without a name, it'll never be allowed to enjoy such freedoms as getting a driver's license, going to vote, or enjoying a custom nameplate for its food dish.
Mm-hmm.
Through a very complicated algorithm, I have narrowed down the possibilities to Bingo, Big Mac, and Chester, or a combination of the 3 for BBC. I was hoping your super cool team could help decide on one of these, or turn it to the Patreon if need be. Thanks for your help, and here are some pictures to help you decide. There are some pictures of the kitty cat in this email. I will quickly just send them over to you in the group chat so you can have a very good reference for what this kitty cat looks like.
The naming of cats is a difficult matter.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just one of your holiday games.
That's right.
You may think at first, I'm as mad as a hatter.
I do.
When I tell you, a cat must have 3 different names.
You're crazy.
First of all, there's the name the family use daily, such as Peter, Augustus, Alonzo, or James.
Sure.
Such as Victor, or Jonathan, or George, or Bill Bailey. All of them sensible, everyday names.
Yeah.
There are fancier names if you think they sound sweeter. Some for the gentlemen, some for the dames, such as Plato, Admetus, Electra, Demeter, but all of them sensible, everyday names.
Yes.
Look at this kitten.
All right, let's go back to... That's a long poem. Oh, look at that, buddy.
That's a Chester, and you will call it Chester Cheetah.
Oh, yeah.
It is an orange little cat.
I think Chester is a great name for that cat.
What do you think, Jim?
Look at the teeny tiny buddy.
He's so little. Look at him next to the couch. Whose cat is that?
That would be Dan Double N.
But
Dan
apart
Yours
from
for
that-
V.
Dan Double N, your cat is super cute. Chester is a great name for the cat.
There's still
Jim,
one
show
name
the pictures
left
of this
over.
cat to my cat that is sleeping in your fucking room right now.
And that is the
traitor.
name that you never will
And
guess. The name
tell
that
her
no
that
human
that cat
research
is
can
way
discover.
cuter
But
than she
the
is.
cat himself knows and will never
Neg her.
confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in rapt contemplation of the thought of his name. His ineffable,
Okay,
effable,
so we do
Effidine
have
effable,
Oh my
another
God.
deep and
email
inscrutable
to read.
singular name.
This
And
is
remember, cats are not dogs. Idiot.
this email's from PJ.
Judy
Hello.
Dench's best line ever delivered.
If you would ever redo a game you've played before on the show, which game would you redo as a show?
Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, Final Fantasy IX for sure.
Yep. He even says in the email, you've said you'd do Final Fantasy IX, but, what else?
Oh, what
Detroit
else?
Become Human.
Yeah, I'd love to make that a mainline game.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
In 10 years, we can
Also-
play Detroit Become Human.
Also, could we redo the Quiet Man? Because
Ooh,
there's
yes.
still a lot to talk about there.
We can do it with now that we're doing our second playthrough, do it with the audio on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and stream
I feel like
it.
we're cheating
I would
talking
love
about-
to stream that game on Twitch.
Oh,
I
man.
really want to stream the Quiet Man on
I mean,
Twitch.
you own
now.
it.
I do own
Nothing's stopping
it.
you.
I'm pretty sure that we would be the world's only Quiet Man streamers. What we should do is one day just all 3 of us stream it at the same time to get whoever watches those algorithms to be like, holy shit, our game, finally it's blowing up.
Yeah, this game is
That's
seeing a
what Square
real
will be like.
resurgence.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to wait for Quiet Man Remastered, and then I'll play it again. Quiet Man Gold.
There's never going to be another Quiet Man
Game of the Year edition.
I feel like
the Sony Classics edition of.
I feel like we're cheating,
Quiet
picking
Man.
like instant classic games and stuff
I
and
don't
stuff
care.
that we've streamed. But if I get to pick one, it's can we play Harvester again?
Oh,
Because that game was
that
amazing.
I would love that.
I am never playing that game again.
What a great game!
Was it too scary for you?
Remember looking in that hole in the bathroom over and over and over, Jim?
Obviously, I would play Phantasmagoria 2, starring friend of the show, Paul Morgan Stetler.
I think you mean. What was his character's name?
Curtis.
I think you mean
Curtis.
the
I always want to say Curtis or Craig.
I think you mean the thinking woman's sex symbol.
The thinking man's sex symbol.
You
no,
know
I'm
what?
talking
It's
about
2021.
Paul Morgan Stanley.
Oh, he's the
talking
yeah,
about the
he is.
thinking woman's
The
sex
thinking
symbol.
woman sex symbol. Par Morgan Stetler.
All right, can we finish this episode?
We have a Patreon. For $3 a month, you can listen to every single bonus episode, like all those wonderful ones we discussed, like Quiet Man, Detroit Become Human, Would You Eat This Bird? Lots of amazing fun for all you to listen to. There's also
that
that
reminds
Resident
me.
Evil 8 spoiler cast you can listen to. For $5 a month, you can vote on, we have a couple times a year votes on things. Our next vote will be in the fall for one of the last games we'll play this year. But whether it's $1, $5, or $3, or whatever you want to give, we will thank you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, why don't you start thanking some of our lovely Patreons?
Sure. I would like to thank David Green, Gunblading Sid, Stu Skeel, Joshua Bennett, Found Iliad, Nathan Poirot, Andy Best, Tracy, Lauren Prince, Not That Fucking Asshole, Aaron J. L. O'Toole, I'm only doing this to vote for Kingdom Hearts 2, Vanessa's mom keeps collecting flowers and bundles of sticks in a threatening manner while staring Vanessa in the eyes and saying, "These are for you." Zachary Train, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy Is, Robert T, Brian Pitt, welcome to Cute Boy Jail, honk honk. When performing The Stranger, is it technically stranger danger? Michael Crawford, every Vanessa's mom is a precious treasure. Kevin Walter, OMG, what is this game? Megan Sullivan, Soy Soda Pop, Gage La Charité. I can't not hear Phil and Lil from Rugrats when Cook talks. Race Jenkins, mostly rational person. Alex Dillard, Chris Wilder, listen up, Scoot Stains, WWE Mike G, John Scala, Icy Wieners, Chris Ryan, Sean Walsh, and Dylan Rowe.
I'd like to thank Sergeant Spaghetti, Wawa Weewa, Do Good Recklessly, Robert J. Defendi, the true secret ending revealing Matt to be TJ Miller's nobody, Hales, Sean Gonzalez, Alexander Jokic, Stephen Paget, Ryan Miller, Jack Mazzell, Justin Rash, Armin Hammer, David Shook D's Nuts, Samu Mitchell, Solomon Wagner, Hatben, the Ben with the Hat, Jay, Oxern, Ally, Joseph, Randy P., Isaac Wright, Boomer Jim, Boomer Matt, Boomer Johnny, Zoomer, Vanessa, Grayson, Ari Corpivara, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Amanda Douglas, Devin Sloan, Lab Grown Beefy Boy, Wash in the Wind, Stan Sham Slam Shame Sean Shit Shed, Port Lost Odyssey to PC, gosh darn it, Hexagon, Chief Hazard built an ice cream truck that drives by Johnny Brandon, keeps coming by. I'm Commander Squall, and this is my favorite store in the garden. Update your name, Carson Clark.
Florian Jonas Kramer, Vanessa's Renegade Cheese Plate, Ward Childress, David Pascal. Let's stop screwing around and use the sweet, sweet Patreon money to buy the rights to Shadow Hearts and save it from Limbo.
Spend that on
Rowe,
new consoles.
Ethan G. Pearson, Kingdom Farts, Pooh, Tyler Crump, Jameson, Aiden Marriott, Andy Smith, Ding Dong, Ping Pong Song, Sung Wrong by King Wong. Matt Newland asks you, do you want 2 CDs? Just a
CDs
sad
what?
sack.
Vanessa, he set you up for the punchline.
I know. I wanted to move
She loves
on.
doing D's nuts jokes in the chats, though. So
Don't call me out on air. I'm an innocent flower. Just a sad sack of invertebrates trying to make a living in a world of haters. Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021. Cyril the Wolf. Joshua W. Broxson. Pluto is not really a person. I'm sorry, that wasn't a good Pete. Let me see. Pluto is not really a person.
That's even worse than what you started with.
Oh. How is he? He's sort of like...
You just got to start with Maleficent. If you think about how he says Maleficent.
Are you guys putting together your
really
fucking Disney afternoon resumes? What's going on?
They're doing their reels right now.
There's just Kaim everywhere. Kaim. Sorry. Mispronounced the name there. It's Kaim. My bad. Ian Frederick, Jeffrey Schreffler, Miguel Torres, Citrus C, Vanessa's Gold, Taco Bell Mom, Matthew Casterline, Grey Code, Nick, Jason Timms, Andres Rivera, Fresh Eyes, Wedge Coon, Still Just Cows, Nobody Has an Unpronounceable Name, Nawford, Marcus Harnsbury, Justin Ham, Hi there, Belinda's. I'm Senior Card Gauge. For Senior Card Gauge Mortgage, we can help you get a leg up on the pile. Low rates.
I would like to thank Christian Go, CharityWater.org, Andy M, Robert M. Pullum, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, DP2099. Do you know who else is bad at games? My mom. Jake Dickerson, William Westgard, George Brady,
Matt's
Aaron
mom's
Bachman.
good at games.
Yeah.
Jake Dickerson, William Westgard, George Brady, Aaron Bachman, Rolled Earth, Huxley Iguana, Eric Garby, Hudson Roth, Peak Namura Nonsense. Don't forget to fill the peapot with your seeds.
We haven't even talked about the peapot yet.
Cassandra, Tyler Petty, Sean, Christopher Highness, Chris Benyak, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Cameron Shoei, Tom, I know you don't want politics on your videos, but the plight of the Uyghurs and Black Lives Matter are just facts.
Uyghurs.
Thank you, Vanessa. Anthony Orbison, Andrew Leinart, Josh, and Julio are the cutest. Verba time, burger time. Tracy, the board queen. Rubber Bear was never the same after the magic industrial revolution. Breegirth, Paul Bursch. I want to get lost in your Odyssey. Ross Hartley, the RPG luminary. Jonathan Ellsworth, Arthur A., and Adam Zimmerman.
Your
Please
Odyssey
rate,
is a
review, and
wonderland.
subscribe.
All right, everyone. That's it for this episode of Square Roots. You can send us an email to squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can find us on Twitter. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Vanessa?
I have something to say about the Spotify. Hey, we're on Spotify now. Please do us a follow on Spotify. You don't have to listen on there, but it helps us if you follow us and like us so we get more traction. And if you're a Spotify listener and want to hear more Square Roots, check out our feed wherever you can find it. I don't know, do a Google.
You can go on squareroots.libsyn.com if you want.
No one knows how to spell Libsyn.
Libsyn.
All right, everyone, for Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
Vanessa.
Johnny Brandon.
All right.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
Bye. I'm Vanessa.